The silent cry. In the vast expanse of the cosmos, where time and space intertwined like gossamer threads, the Aetheri had long stood as silent observers. These beings of pure energy, as ancient as the stars themselves, drifted through the universe, their consciousness spanning galaxies. For eons, they had watched civilizations rise and fall, stars born and die, all while maintaining the delicate balance of reality itself. The Aetheri existed beyond the comprehension of most sentient beings. Their bodies, if they could be called such, were composed of intricate patterns of energy that pulsed and shifted in harmony with the cosmic rhythms. They communicated not through words or gestures, but through the subtle manipulation of quantum fields, a language as complex and beautiful as the universe itself. For millennia, the Aetheri had been content in their role as the universe's caretakers, nudging cosmic events here and there to maintain the grand design. But now, for the first time in their immeasurable existence, they faced a threat that even they could not fully comprehend. It began as a whisper, a faint disturbance in the cosmic background radiation that only the most sensitive of the Aetheri could detect. At first, they dismissed it as a natural fluctuation, one of the many ebbs and flows of the universe. But as time passed, the whisper grew into a persistent hum, and then into a discordant screech that threatened to tear apart the very fabric of reality. The Aetheri gathered, their energy forms coalescing into a grand council that spanned several galactic clusters. They shared their observations, each contribution adding to a terrifying picture of cosmic decay. The laws of physics themselves seemed to be unraveling, starting from a point deep in uncharted space and spreading like a cancer through the universe. Zephyria, one of the youngest of the Aetheri, though still older than many civilizations, pulsed with concern. Her energy pattern flickered rapidly, conveying her thoughts to the others. "We have never encountered anything like this before. Our methods of maintaining balance are ineffective against this entropy." Cronus, an Aetheri so old that he had witnessed the birth of the first stars, responded with a slow, steady pulse. "In all my existence, I have never seen such a fundamental threat to reality itself. We must act, or all that is, was, and will be shall cease to exist." The council resonated with agreement, but a sense of helplessness permeated their collective consciousness. For the first time, the Aetheri faced a problem they could not solve alone. Their mastery of energy and deep understanding of the universe's workings were not enough to combat this existential threat. As the council debated, searching for a solution, Lyra, an Aetheri known for her unconventional thoughts, pulsed brightly. The others turned their attention to her, curious about the sudden burst of energy. Perhaps Lyra's thoughts rippled through the gathering. "We have been looking in the wrong place for a solution. We have always relied on our own knowledge and capabilities. But there are younger races in the universe, beings whose minds work in ways we can scarcely comprehend. What if the answer lies not in our ancient wisdom, but in the fresh perspective of a species that still marvels at the cosmos?" A murmur of confusion spread through the council. The idea of seeking help from younger races was unprecedented. The Aetheri had always kept themselves hidden, intervening only in the subtlest of ways to guide the course of cosmic events. Cronus pulsed skeptically. Which race could possibly assist us in a matter that confounds even our understanding? Lyra's energy pattern shifted, forming an image that all the Aetheri recognized. A small blue-green planet orbiting an unremarkable yellow star. "Humans," she said simply. The response was immediate and chaotic. Some Aetheri recoiled at the suggestion, their energy patterns expressing disbelief and even disdain. Others pulsed with curiosity, intrigued by the radical proposal. Zephyria, always quick to embrace new ideas, supported Lyra. "The humans are young, yes, but they have shown remarkable adaptability and ingenuity. In the brief span of their civilization, they have made leaps in understanding that took other races millennia. They are also volatile, unpredictable," countered another Aetheri named Vortex. "Their history is marred by conflict and destruction. How can we trust them with the fate of reality itself? The debate raged on, time meaningless to beings who had existed for billions of years. Yet, even as they argued, they could feel the cosmic fabric continuing to fray around them. The need for action grew more urgent with each passing moment. Finally, Kronos pulsed for attention, his energy pattern commanding respect from all present. We have watched humanity since they first looked up at the stars with wonder. Yes, they are flawed, often misguided, but they possess a quality that we, in our eons of existence, have lost. The ability to see the universe with new eyes, to imagine the impossible, and then strive to make it real. His words resonated through the council, causing a shift in the collective consciousness of the Aetheri. Kronos continued, in their brief history, humans have faced extinction-level threats multiple times, yet they have always found a way to survive, to adapt, to overcome. It is this resilience, this unyielding determination in the face of overwhelming odds, that we need now. The council pulsed with reluctant agreement. The situation was dire enough to warrant extraordinary measures. But a new question arose: how to approach humanity. The Aetheri had never revealed themselves to any mortal race before. Lyra once again offered a suggestion. We must choose an emissary, one of us who can take a form that humans can perceive and interact with. This emissary will need to convey the urgency of our plight and convince humanity to aid us. The council agreed, and after much deliberation, Zephyria was chosen for the task. Her relative youth and fascination with mortal races made her the ideal candidate to bridge the gap between the Aetheri and humanity. As the council prepared Zephyria for her mission, they imbued her with a fraction of their collective knowledge, carefully curated to be comprehensible to human minds. They also granted her the ability to shift her energy form into a semblance of physical matter, allowing her to interact with the physical world in ways the Aetheri normally could not. Before Zephyria departed, Kronos approached her, his energy field enveloping hers in what could only be described as an embrace. Remember, young one, that the fate of all existence rests upon this mission. But also remember that in humanity, you may find qualities that we have long forgotten. Learn from them, as they will learn from you. Zephyria pulsed with determination and a hint of excitement. As the chosen emissary, she would be the first Aetheri in countless eons to directly interact with a mortal race. The magnitude of this responsibility was not lost on her. With a final pulse of farewell to the council, Zephyria began her journey across the cosmos. She traveled not through conventional space, but through the quantum foam that underlies reality itself. In what would have taken organic beings millennia, she crossed vast interstellar distances in mere moments. As she approached the solar system, Zephyria began the delicate process of transforming her energy form. She coalesced her essence into a physical shape, choosing an appearance that she hoped would be both relatable and awe-inspiring to humans. Her body took on a humanoid form, tall and slender, with skin that seemed to shimmer with starlight. Her eyes, deep and luminous, held the wisdom of eons. Zephyria entered Earth's atmosphere, her arrival marked by a brilliant streak across the night sky that astronomers would later debate over. She landed gently in a remote forest, taking a moment to acclimate to the sensations of a physical form, the feel of the earth beneath her feet, the scent of pine in the air, the gentle caress of the wind. As she stood there, absorbing the vibrant life energy of the planet, Zephyria felt a mix of hope and trepidation. The fate of the cosmos now hinged on her ability to convince this young, fractious species to unite and face a threat beyond their comprehension. In the distance, she could see the lights of a human city. Taking a deep breath, her first as a quasi-physical being, Zephyria began walking towards civilization. The first contact between the Aetheri and humanity was about to begin, and with it, a chain of events that would alter the course of the universe forever. As she walked, Zephyria reflected on the enormous task ahead. How does one explain the unraveling of reality to beings who have barely begun to understand their own planet? how to convey the urgency of a cosmic threat to a species still grappling with its own existential challenges. Yet, despite these doubts, Cytherea felt a growing sense of optimism. In her studies of humanity, she had seen their capacity for greatness alongside their potential for destruction. She had witnessed their resilience, their creativity, their ability to unite in the face of common threats. If any species could help the Aetheri face this unprecedented crisis, it would be these remarkable contradictory beings called humans. With each step towards the human city, Cytherea's determination grew. The silent cry of the universe, the desperate plea of the Aetheri, would soon be heard by humanity, and in their response lay the hope of all existence. First contact. The city lights grew brighter as Cytherea approached, her ethereal form casting a soft glow in the pre-dawn darkness. She had chosen a small coastal city for her first contact, hoping to minimize initial panic while still reaching those with the authority to act on her warning. As she entered the outskirts of the city, car alarms began to blare, reacting to her energy signature. Streetlights flickered and dimmed, creating a wave of darkness that preceded her. Despite her efforts to minimize her impact, Cytherea's very presence was causing disruptions in the human world. It didn't take long for the first humans to notice her. A group of early morning joggers stopped in their tracks, jaws dropping at the sight of the tall, luminous being walking calmly down their street. One of them, overcoming his initial shock, pulled out his phone and began recording. Cytherea knew this moment was crucial. Her first interaction would set the tone for humanity's response to her presence. She stopped, raised a hand in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peace, and spoke, her voice resonating with harmonics beyond human hearing. "People of Earth," she said, her words somehow understood by all who heard them, regardless of their native language. "I come with an urgent message. Your world, indeed all of reality, faces a threat beyond imagination. I seek your help." The joggers stood frozen, their minds struggling to process what they were seeing and hearing. In the distance, sirens began to wail as local authorities responded to the numerous calls flooding their emergency lines. Within hours, news of Cytherea's arrival had spread across the globe. Social media exploded with grainy videos and wild speculations. Governments scrambled to respond, torn between treating her arrival as a potential threat or a monumental scientific breakthrough. As military vehicles and news vans converged on the small coastal city, Cytherea remained calm, patiently waiting for those in authority to approach her. She understood the fear and confusion her presence was causing, but she also knew that time was of the essence. Finally, a group of officials approached, led by the city's mayor and accompanied by a hastily assembled team of scientists and military personnel. The mayor, a middle-aged woman named Sarah Chen, stepped forward, her voice trembling slightly but her gaze steady. "On behalf of the people of Earth, I welcome you," Mayor Chen said, improvising a greeting for a situation no one had ever prepared for. "You said you bring a message. We are ready to listen." Cytherea nodded, appreciating the mayor's composure. "Thank you for your welcome," she replied. "I am Cytherea, an emissary of the Aetheri, an ancient race that has watched over the cosmos since the dawn of time. We face a crisis that threatens not just your world, but the very fabric of reality itself. We need humanity's help to prevent the unraveling of existence." The assembled humans exchanged glances, a mix of disbelief, fear, and excitement passing between them. Dr. Aiden Kojima, a renowned astrophysicist who had been helicoptered in for this encounter, stepped forward. "With all due respect," he said, his scientific skepticism warring with the evidence of his own eyes, "how can we verify your claims? And if what you say is true, how could we possibly help with something so far beyond our understanding?" Cytherea's form shimmed slightly, her inner light pulsing with what might have been approval. "Your skepticism is understandable, Dr. Kojima. To address your first question, I can provide demonstrations of the reality of the threat we face. As for how you can help," she paused, her gaze sweeping over the assembled humans, It is precisely because this threat is beyond your current understanding that you may be able to help. The Aetheri have watched humanity's progress with great interest. Your species has a remarkable ability to think in ways that we, with all our ancient knowledge, cannot. It is this fresh perspective, this ability to imagine the impossible, that we need. As if to punctuate her words, the sky above them suddenly shimmered, the stars seeming to shift and blur for a moment before snapping back into place. The assembled humans gasped, many instinctively ducking despite the phenomenon occurring light years away. "What you just witnessed," Zephyria explained, her voice grave, "was a ripple in the fabric of space-time, a symptom of the cosmic decay that threatens us all. These events will become more frequent and more severe unless we act." The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity. As word of Zephiria's warning spread, governments around the world went into emergency sessions. The United Nations Security Council convened an unprecedented meeting, with Zephiria's image projected for all to see as she repeated her warning and plea for help. Reactions around the world varied wildly. Some hailed Zephiria's arrival as the dawn of a new age for humanity, a confirmation that we were not alone in the universe. Others saw it as a portent of doom, or worse, an elaborate hoax or conspiracy. Religious leaders scrambled to reconcile her existence with their doctrines, while scientists salivated at the prospect of access to advanced cosmic knowledge. Through it all, Zephyria remained patient, understanding that humanity needed time to process this paradigm-shifting event. But she also knew that time was a luxury they didn't have. As the initial shock began to wear off, world leaders started to ask the hard questions. How exactly could humanity help? What resources would be needed? And perhaps most pressingly, how could nations that had spent centuries in conflict suddenly come together to face this cosmic threat? Zephyria addressed the UN General Assembly, her form shimmering with barely contained energy. "The threat we face is one of cosmic entropy, a fundamental breakdown of the laws that govern reality. The Aetheri have long maintained the balance of these cosmic forces, but this new decay resists our traditional methods." She paused, allowing the gravity of her words to sink in. "What we need from humanity is not your current technology, impressive as it is. We need your perspective, your creativity, your ability to think in ways that we, in our eons of existence, have lost. We need your scientists, your artists, your dreamers, anyone who can look at the fundamental laws of reality and imagine them differently." The assembly erupted in a cacophony of voices, questions and concerns flying from all directions. How could art help with a cosmic threat? What did she mean by thinking about fundamental laws differently? As the debate raged, Dr. Kojima, who had been quietly listening, suddenly stood up. "I think I understand," he said, his voice cutting through the noise. "You're not asking us to solve the problem with our current understanding of physics. You're asking us to reinvent physics itself." Zephyria's form brightened in affirmation. "Precisely, Dr. Kojima. The laws of reality as we know them are failing. We need to write new ones." The audacity of the task ahead began to dawn on the assembled leaders. This was not a problem that could be solved with military might or economic power. It would require a complete reimagining of humanity's place in the cosmos. As the initial shock of Zephiria's arrival began to fade, a new emotion began to take hold: determination. Humanity had faced extinction-level threats before, from ice ages to pandemics to the specter of nuclear war. Each time, they had found a way to survive, to adapt, to overcome. This cosmic threat, as overwhelming as it seemed, was just the next challenge in humanity's story. World leaders began to formulate plans. A global task force was proposed, bringing together the brightest minds from every field, not just scientists and engineers, but artists, philosophers, and even science fiction writers. Anyone who could contribute to this grand reimagining of reality would be welcome. But even as these plans were being made, the cosmic decay was accelerating. Reports began to come in from around the world of strange phenomena. Time flowing at different rates in different places, fundamental constants of physics fluctuating, cause and effect becoming untethered. Zephyria watched these developments with growing concern. The Aetheri had known the situation was dire, but the speed at which the decay was progressing exceeded even their worst predictions. She realized that humanity would need to work faster than anyone thought possible. As the sun set on this historic day, Zephyria stood atop a hill overlooking the city where she had first appeared. The lights below twinkled, a reflection of the stars above, both now seeming equally fragile in the face of the cosmic threat. A small group had followed her, including Dr. Kojima and Mayor Chen. They stood in awed silence, the weight of the task ahead heavy on their shoulders. "I know what we're asking seems impossible," Zephyria said softly, her gaze fixed on the horizon. "But in my study of your species, I've learned that impossible is not a concept humanity easily accepts. You have always pushed boundaries, always reached for the stars. Now, the very stars themselves need your help." She turned to face the small group, her form glowing brighter in the gathering darkness. "The road ahead will be difficult. We will face setbacks and moments of despair. But I believe, the Aetheri believe, that if any species can help us rewrite the laws of reality, it's humanity." As if in response to her words, a shooting star blazed across the sky. But instead of burning out, it seemed to pause, hanging in the air for a long moment before slowly fading away, a visible reminder of the cosmic forces now in flux. Dr. Kojima, his scientific mind racing with the implications of what he'd seen, turned to Zephyria. "Where do we start?" he asked simply. Zephyria smiled, a gesture she had adopted to put humans at ease. "We start," she said, "by reimagining everything you think you know about the universe, and then we dream up a new one." As the small group made their way back to the city, the first teams of scientists, artists, and thinkers were already being assembled around the world. Humanity's greatest challenge, and perhaps its finest hour, was just beginning. The cosmic tapestry was unraveling, but with the combined efforts of the ancient Aetheri and the young, vibrant human race, perhaps it could be rewoven into something even more beautiful and resilient than before. The Cosmic Forge. In the weeks following Zephyria's arrival, the world transformed. The revelation of a cosmic threat and the existence of an ancient energy-based species had shattered paradigms across every field of human knowledge. But humanity, true to form, was adapting with remarkable speed. The Global Cosmic Preservation Initiative, GCPI, had been established, an unprecedented collaboration between nations, corporations, and academic institutions. At its heart was the Cosmic Forge Project, an audacious attempt to create a device capable of stabilizing the fabric of reality itself. Dr. Aiden Kojima found himself at the center of this whirlwind of activity. As one of the first scientists to interact with Zephyria, he had become a key figure in translating Aetheri concepts into terms humans could understand and work with. The challenge, Dr. Kojima explained to a room full of the world's brightest minds, is not just in building the device. It's in fundamentally reimagining the laws of physics as we know them. The room, a state-of-the-art facility hastily constructed in a neutral location agreed upon by world powers, was filled with an eclectic mix of people. Physicists rubbed shoulders with science fiction authors, while artists and philosophers engaged in deep discussion with engineers and mathematicians. Zephyria, her ethereal form shimmering with anticipation, addressed the group. "What we seek to create is not just a machine, but a nexus point for rewriting the fundamental code of the universe. It must be able to interface with both your physical reality and the energy realms of the Aetheri." The enormity of the task was not lost on anyone present. They were attempting to bridge the gap between two radically different forms of existence, all while the very fabric of reality was fraying around them. Work began in earnest. Traditional scientific methods were quickly found to be insufficient for the task at hand. The decay of reality meant that experiments often yielded inconsistent results, as the laws of physics fluctuated unpredictably. It was a young artist, Sophia Chen, no relation to Mayor Chen, who made the first breakthrough. While the scientists argued over fluctuating quantum states, Sophia had been quietly sketching in her notebook. She approached Dr. Kojima with a drawing that seemed to shift and move on the page. "I've been trying to visualize what Safiri has been describing," Sophia explained. "Not the math or the physics, but the feel of it. The way reality bends and flows." Dr. Kojima stared at the drawing, his mind racing. The sketch somehow captured the fluid, interconnected nature of reality that Safiria had been trying to convey. It wasn't a scientific diagram, but an artistic interpretation that somehow made the concepts click. "This," Dr. Kojima said, holding up Sophia's sketch, "this is what we've been missing. We've been trying to approach this problem with our old understanding of physics, but we need to see it differently, feel it differently." Safiria, observing the interaction, pulsed with approval. "Yes," she said, her voice resonating with harmonic overtones. "This is the kind of thinking we hope to inspire. The cosmic forge cannot be built with technology alone. It must be imagined into existence." From that point on, the project took on a new dimension. Scientists began collaborating closely with artists, using visualizations and metaphors to grasp concepts that defied traditional scientific description. Poets worked alongside quantum physicists, finding words to describe the indescribable. Musicians composed pieces that somehow captured the rhythms of cosmic energy that Safiria could perceive. As the work progressed, the first prototypes of the cosmic forge began to take shape. It was like no device ever created by human hands. Part machine, part artwork, it pulsed with an energy that seemed to straddle the line between the physical and the metaphysical. But even as progress was made, the stakes continued to rise. Reports of reality distortions were becoming more frequent and more severe. In some parts of the world, time itself was beginning to flow erratically. There were incidents of spontaneous matter-energy conversions, and in a few terrifying cases, localized breakdowns of causality. The pressure on the team was immense. They were in a race against time, trying to complete a device that could stabilize reality before reality itself became too unstable to support their work. It was during one of these tense moments, with alarms blaring as another reality fluctuation rippled through the facility, that Dr. Kojima had an epiphany. He had been staring at the latest prototype of the cosmic forge, frustrated by its inability to maintain a stable connection between physical matter and ethereal energy. "We've been going about this all wrong," he muttered, his eyes wide with sudden understanding. He turned to Safiria, who had been assisting with the energy transfer protocols. "We've been trying to create a device that can manipulate reality. But what if we create a device that can persuade reality?" Zafiria's form brightened with interest. "Explain," she said simply. "Well, you've told us that the Aetheri have always guided cosmic events through subtle manipulations. You don't force reality to behave a certain way. You nudge it. Suggest to it. What if we apply that same principle here, but on a grander scale?" The idea sparked a flurry of activity. The team began to redesign the cosmic forge, moving away from brute force approaches to reality manipulation and towards a more subtle, persuasive model. They incorporated elements of human psychology and social dynamics, treating reality itself as a kind of cosmic society that could be influenced rather than controlled. As the new design took shape, something remarkable began to happen. The components of the cosmic forge, which had previously resisted integration, began to work in harmony. The energy fluctuations that had plagued earlier prototypes stabilized. It was as if reality itself was responding to their change in approach, becoming more cooperative. But just as it seemed they were on the verge of a breakthrough, disaster struck. A massive reality distortion, larger than any recorded before, swept across the globe. The Cosmic Forge facility, despite its heavy shielding, was hit hard. Alarms blared as reality itself seemed to warp and twist. Team members watched in horror as solid objects began to phase in and out of existence. In one corner of the lab, a temporal anomaly formed, causing a group of scientists to experience time at a vastly accelerated rate. aging years in a matter of seconds. Cytherea, drawing on all her aethery abilities, managed to create a bubble of stable space around the core of the cosmic forge. But even she was clearly strained by the effort. "We're out of time," she announced, her voice tight with exertion. "The cosmic decay has accelerated beyond our worst projections. If we don't activate the forge now, there may not be enough stable reality left to work with." Dr. Kojima looked at the cosmic forge. It was incomplete, untested. Activating it now could be disastrous. But not activating it would certainly lead to the unraveling of all existence. He made his decision. "Prepare for activation," he ordered, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. "Sophia, we need your visualization skills. Help us guide the forge's influence. Everyone else, focus your thoughts on stability, on wholeness. If this device is going to persuade reality, we need to give it a clear message to work with." As the team rushed to comply, Dr. Kojima turned to Cytherea. "I hope we're ready for this," he said quietly. Cytherea's form pulsed with what might have been a smile. "Ready or not, the moment has come. Humanity has brought us this far. Now we face the ultimate test together." With a deep breath, Dr. Kojima gave the order. "Activate the cosmic forge." The device hummed to life, its intricate components beginning to glow with an otherworldly light. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, with a sound that was felt rather than heard, a wave of energy pulsed outward from the forge. Reality itself seemed to hold its breath. The chaotic fluctuations around them paused, as if the universe was waiting to see what would happen next. Then, slowly at first, but with gathering speed, the distortions began to recede. Objects snapped back into stable existence. The temporal anomaly collapsed, leaving the affected scientists shaken but unharmed. A cheer went up from the team as readings across the board showed reality stabilizing. They had done it. The cosmic forge was working. But even as they celebrated, Cytherea's voice cut through the jubilation, her tone urgent. "Something's wrong," she said, her form flickering erratically. "The forge, it's drawing too much power. It's not just stabilizing reality, it's changing it." Dr. Kojima rushed to the control panel, his eyes widening as he saw the readings. The cosmic forge was indeed working, but it was doing far more than they had intended. It wasn't just repairing the cosmic fabric. It was reweaving it entirely. "Shut it down," he yelled, but even as the words left his mouth, he knew it was too late. The cosmic forge had tapped into powers beyond their control, and its effects were rippling out across the cosmos at speeds that defied comprehension. As the team watched in a mix of awe and terror, the very nature of reality began to shift around them. They had succeeded in their mission to save existence, but at what cost? What new cosmic order were they ushering in? The cosmic forge pulsed one final time, a blinding flash that forced everyone to shield their eyes. When they could see again, the device was silent, its work apparently complete. But the universe around them had changed. How profoundly, they were only beginning to understand. As the dust settled, Dr. Kojima turned to Cytherea, a question burning in his eyes. The aethery emissary, her form now somehow both more solid and more ethereal than before, met his gaze. "What happens now?" Dr. Kojima asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Cytherea's response was both thrilling and terrifying in its implications. "Now," she said, "we discover what kind of universe we have created." The cosmic forge had done its work. Reality was stable once more, but it was a reality forever changed by the combined efforts of humanity and the aethery. The next chapter of cosmic history was about to unfold, and no one, not even the ancient aethery, could predict what it would bring. The unraveling. In the wake of the cosmic forge's activation, an eerie calm settled over the facility. The chaotic fluctuations of reality had ceased, but the air was thick with tension. Everyone present knew that they had just witnessed and participated in an event of cosmic significance. Dr. Aiden Kojima stood before the now silent cosmic forge, its intricate components still glowing faintly with residual energy. He turned to Zephyria, whose form seemed to be fluctuating more than usual. "Did we succeed?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Zephyria's response was hesitant, her usual certainty absent. "The immediate threat has been averted," she said. "Reality is no longer unraveling." But she paused, her form shimmering with what might have been concern. "The changes are far more extensive than we anticipated. We may have done more than simply repair the cosmic fabric." As if to underscore her words, a series of alarms began to blare throughout the facility. Sophia Chen, who had been monitoring the global sensor network, called out in alarm. "We're getting reports from around the world," she said, her eyes wide as she scanned the incoming data. "The laws of physics, they're not constant anymore. They're shifting." Dr. Kojima rushed to her station, his mind racing as he processed the information. Gravity was fluctuating in seemingly random patterns across the globe. The speed of light had become variable. In some areas, causality itself seemed to be breaking down, with effects preceding causes. "This isn't stabilization," Dr. Kojima muttered. "It's chaos." Zephyria moved to join them, her ethereal form pulsing with urgency. "The cosmic forge," she said, "it's still active. It's not just repairing reality, it's rewriting it. And it's drawing power from somewhere beyond." As the team scrambled to understand what was happening, reports continued to pour in from around the world. In some places, time was flowing backwards. In others, alternate realities were bleeding through, causing confusion and panic. Dr. Kojima made a decision. "We need to shut it down," he said firmly. "Whatever the cosmic forge is doing, it's too much, too fast. We're not ready for this level of change." But as they approached the device, they found themselves unable to get close. An energy field had formed around the cosmic forge, repelling any attempt to interfere with its operation. Zephyria's form flickered erratically as she attempted to interface with the device. "It's resisting," she said, her voice strained. "The forge has tapped into something, a well of cosmic power that even the Aetheri didn't know existed. It's using that power to reshape reality on a fundamental level." As the situation grew more desperate, an unexpected voice cut through the chaos. It was Lyra, another Aetheri who had arrived unannounced, her form barely holding together in the turbulent environment. "The cosmic forge," Lyra said, her voice echoing with cosmic harmonies. "It's not malfunctioning. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do, rewriting the laws of reality. But it's doing so without guidance, without purpose. It needs a template, a vision to shape the new cosmic order." Dr. Kojima's eyes widened as he grasped the implications. "You mean, we need to tell it what kind of universe to create?" Lyra's form pulsed in affirmation. "Precisely. But it will take more than mere words or thoughts. It will require a direct interface with the forge, a merging of consciousness with its cosmic power." The gravity of what Lyra was suggesting hung heavy in the air. Such a merge would almost certainly be fatal for any being, human or Aetheri. Before anyone could respond, Zephyria stepped forward. "I'll do it," she said, her voice filled with determination. "I was chosen as the emissary between our peoples. Let me be the bridge one last time." Protests erupted from both humans and Aetheri, but Zephyria silenced them with a pulse of energy. "There's no time to debate," she said. "Reality is unraveling faster than we can comprehend. This may be our only chance to guide its reformation." Dr. Kojima stepped forward, his eyes meeting Zephyria's glowing form. "You can't do this alone," he said. "The new cosmic order needs to reflect both Aetheri wisdom and human imagination. Let me join you." For a moment, it seemed Zephyria would refuse, but then her form pulsed with what might have been a smile. "Together, then," she said. "As it should be." As the two prepared to interface with the cosmic forge, Sophia rushed forward. "Wait," she called, holding out her sketchbook. "Take this. My visualizations, they might help, might give you something to focus on when you're in there." Dr. Kojima took the sketchbook, nodding gratefully. Then, with a deep breath, he and Zephyria stepped into the energy field surrounding the cosmic forge. The moment they made contact, reality itself seemed to hold its breath. The chaos around them froze, as if the universe was waiting to see what would happen next. Inside the energy field, Dr. Kojima and Zephyria found themselves in a realm beyond physical description. They were everywhere and nowhere. Their consciousness expanded to encompass the entire cosmos. They could see the fabric of reality, a tapestry of infinite complexity. And they could see the cosmic forge at work, its power reaching into every corner of existence, rewriting the fundamental laws that governed all things. But the rewriting was chaotic, directionless. Without guidance, the forge was creating a universe of instability and contradiction. Drawing on all their knowledge, all their experiences, and all their hopes for the future, Dr. Kojima and Zephyria began to guide the forge's power. They thought of stability, but also of growth and change. They envisioned a universe where the laws of physics were not rigid constraints, but flexible guidelines that allowed for wonder and discovery. They drew inspiration from Sophia's sketches, using the artist's visualizations to help shape their cosmic vision. They thought of a universe where science and art, logic and imagination, could coexist and complement each other. As they worked, they could feel their individual consciousnesses beginning to fade, merging with the cosmic energies around them. But they pressed on, pouring every ounce of their beings into this final, monumental task. Outside the energy field, the rest of the team watched in awe as reality began to stabilize. The chaotic fluctuations ceased, replaced by a new cosmic order that was at once familiar and utterly alien. When it was over, the energy field collapsed. Where Dr. Kojima and Zephyria had stood, there was now only a softly glowing sphere of energy, pulsing gently in harmony with the cosmos. Lyra approached the sphere, her form resonating with deep emotion. "They've done it," she said, her voice filled with awe. "They've become one with the cosmos itself. Their sacrifice has given birth to a new universal order." As the team struggled to comprehend the magnitude of what had just occurred, they became aware of changes in themselves and their surroundings. Their perceptions had expanded, allowing them to sense aspects of reality that had previously been hidden. They could see the new laws of physics at work, more complex and beautiful than anything they had imagined. The universe was still governed by rules, but these rules were now flexible, adaptive, allowing for a level of cosmic diversity that boggled the mind. Sophia, tears in her eyes, opened her sketchbook. The drawings inside had changed, becoming windows into different corners of the new cosmos. "They used my sketches," she whispered. "Our art. It's part of the fabric of reality now." As the implications of what had happened began to sink in, a sense of both loss and hope filled the room. Dr. Kojima and Zephyria were gone, at least in their individual forms. But their sacrifice had not only saved reality from unraveling, but had given birth to a new cosmic era. Lyra, her form now more stable in the new universal order, addressed the stunned humans. "The task before us now," she said, "is to understand and steward this new cosmos. Humanity and the Aetheri, working together as true partners in cosmic guardianship." As if in response to her words, the glowing sphere that had been Dr. Kojima and Zephyria pulsed once, filling the room with a warm, comforting light. In that moment, everyone present felt a profound connection to the cosmos and to each other. The cosmic forge had done its work. Reality had been unraveled and rewoven. And in the process, humanity had taken its first steps into a larger, more wondrous universe than they had ever dreamed possible. But as the team began to grapple with their new reality and responsibilities, they knew that this was not an ending, but a beginning. The greatest adventure in cosmic history was just getting started, weaving the future. In the days following the activation of the cosmic forge and the sacrifice of Dr. Aiden Kojima and Zephyria, the world held its breath. The immediate threat of cosmic unraveling had passed, but humanity found itself on the threshold of a new reality, one that defied easy comprehension. The Global Cosmic Preservation Initiative, GCPI facility, once a hive of frantic activity, had become a nexus of study and wonder. Scientists, artists, and philosophers from around the world flocked to the site, eager to understand the new cosmic order that had emerged. At the center of it all was the softly glowing sphere that had once been Dr. Kojima and Safiria. It pulsed gently, in perfect harmony with the new rhythms of the universe. Lyra, now the primary liaison between the aethery and humanity, spent long hours communing with the sphere, attempting to decipher the vast cosmic knowledge it seemed to contain. Sophia Chen, whose artistic visualizations had played a crucial role in shaping the new reality, found herself in high demand. Her ability to translate complex cosmic concepts into visual form had become invaluable in helping others understand the changed universe. It's like the laws of physics have become more like guidelines, Sophia explained to a group of wide-eyed researchers, sketching rapidly as she spoke. They're not fixed anymore, but adaptive. They respond to consciousness, to intent. Indeed, as humanity began to explore their new reality, they discovered that the very fabric of the cosmos seemed to react to conscious observation and expectation. It was as if the barrier between mind and matter had become permeable, allowing for feats that would have once been considered impossible. But with this new power came great responsibility. Lyra, her form now a constant shimmer of cosmic energy, addressed a global conference of world leaders and thinkers. The sacrifice of Safiria and Dr. Kojima has ushered in a new age, she said, her voice resonating with harmonics that stirred something deep in the souls of all who heard her. But it is an age that requires guardianship. The cosmos is now more responsive, more alive than ever before. It must be tended, guided, lest it fall into chaos. The implications were staggering. Humanity, in partnership with the aethery, was being called upon to become stewards of reality itself. It was a task that would require a fundamental shift in thinking, a blending of scientific rigor with artistic vision, of technological prowess with philosophical wisdom. As the world grappled with these changes, remarkable developments began to unfold. The boundaries between disciplines began to blur. Physicists found themselves working alongside poets to describe the new laws of nature. Engineers collaborated with mystics to develop technologies that could interface with the more fluid reality. Perhaps most remarkably, a new form of communication began to emerge. People found they could share thoughts and experiences directly, transcending the limitations of language. It was as if the merging of Dr. Kojima and Safiria with the cosmos had created a template for a new kind of collective consciousness. But this new era was not without its challenges. Some individuals, overwhelmed by the expanded awareness that came with the new cosmic order, struggled to maintain their sense of self. Others, intoxicated by the newfound ability to influence reality through thought and will, needed to be taught restraint and responsibility. The aethery, once aloof observers of the cosmos, found themselves changed as well. The influence of human creativity and passion had altered them, making them more dynamic, more engaged with the moment-to-moment flow of existence. Lyra, in a quiet moment of reflection with Sophia, attempted to put the change into words. "We aethery have existed for eons," she said, her form shimmering with newfound vibrancy. "We thought we understood the cosmos. But through your eyes, through human eyes, we're seeing it anew. You've given us back our sense of wonder." As the years passed, a new balance began to emerge. The GCPI evolved into the Cosmic Harmony Institute, a global organization dedicated to understanding and maintaining the new cosmic order. Its symbol, fittingly, was an artistic rendering of the sphere that had once been Dr. Kojima and Safiria. Humanity's expansion into space, once driven by the need for resources and the spirit of exploration, took on a new dimension. Each new world visited, each new star system explored, was an opportunity to witness and participate in the ongoing creation of the cosmos. The sphere at the heart of the Cosmic Harmony Institute continued to pulse, a constant reminder of the sacrifice that had made this new era possible. But as time went on, many began to suspect that it was more than just a relic. There were whispers that the consciousness of Dr. Kojima and Zephyria lived on within it, continuing to guide and shape the cosmos in subtle ways. One day, decades after the Great Transformation, Sophia, now an elder stateswoman of the new cosmic age, stood before the sphere, her sketchbook in hand. She had come here countless times over the years, seeking inspiration and guidance. But this time felt different. As she gazed into the gently pulsing light, she felt a familiar presence. For just a moment, she could have sworn she saw the outlines of two figures within the sphere, one human, one aethery, smiling at her. Sophia smiled back, a tear running down her cheek. She opened her sketchbook to a fresh page and began to draw. What flowed from her pen was a vision of the cosmos as it could be, as it was becoming. A grand, ever-evolving tapestry of reality, with humanity and the aethery as its co-weavers. As she sketched, Sophia felt a surge of joy and purpose. The universe was vast and full of wonders, and the greatest adventure was just beginning. Humanity had not just heeded the call for help from the cosmos, they had answered it in a way that had transformed both themselves and the very fabric of reality. The future stretched out before them, infinite in its possibilities, and somewhere, in the harmonious pulse of the new cosmic order, the essences of Dr. Kojima and Zephyria lived on, forever a part of the grand tapestry they had helped to weave. As Sophia's pen danced across the page, capturing visions of cosmic wonders yet to be discovered, a soft light filled the room. The sphere pulsed once, twice, and then settled into a new rhythm, as if approving of the future being sketched before it. In that moment, Sophia understood with perfect clarity the truth that Dr. Kojima and Zephyria had glimpsed in their final moments. The cosmos was not just a place to be observed and studied, but a grand, ongoing act of creation in which every conscious being could participate. As she finished her sketch, Sophia looked up at the sphere one last time. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice filled with gratitude and wonder. "We'll take it from here." And with that, she turned and walked out of the chamber, her steps light and purposeful. Outside, a new generation of cosmic guardians, human and aethery alike, waited to learn, to explore, and to continue the great work of weaving the future of the cosmos. The universe, vast and mysterious as ever, pulsed with new life and possibility. The adventure was far from over. In fact, it had only just begun.